Families of the hostages are being told the process of releasing their loved ones will begin Monday morning local time. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu posting on his official X account that the country is prepared to, quote, immediately receive all of the hostages. They'll be released all at once. And Vice President Vance had this to say to our This Week anchor, George Stephanopoulos, just a short time ago.
Have 20 living hostages been confirmed? When do you expect to see them?
Well, they've been confirmed, George. Of course, you don't know until you see these people alive, but thank God we expect to see them alive here in the next 24 hours, probably early tomorrow morning, U.S. time, which will be later in the day, of course, in Israel.
And while on Hamas's side, there have been movements around Nasser Hospital and Khan Yunis, where former Palestinian prisoners held in Israeli jails are expected to be received. So joining me now for more on this is ABC News chief foreign correspondent Ian Pannell, live from Tel Aviv, along with ABC News national security and defense analyst and former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for the Middle East, Mick Mulroy. Thank you both for being with us. Ian, let's start with you. What more are you hearing about that hostage release plan?
Yeah, Janae, there's just been a briefing by the Israelis. They're talking about potentially 6 to 7 a.m. In the morning here. Of course, it's not set in stone. There are so many moving parts. We're about 7 hours ahead of East Coast time, so around midnight or very early in the morning. The process will be that when Hamas has all the hostages, presumably in one place, that the Red Cross will send in a convoy, probably of ambulances, because of concerns about the condition of the hostages. They will then hand them over to IDF custody. IDF has set up a reception centre at Reim camp, that's down on the border, where doctors, family members will be gathered. And there's already a plan that 10 of the hostages will go to one hospital down south, and 5 will be going to 2 different hospitals. One here in Tel Aviv. The most serious cases will go to the Beersheba hospital, which is down south, so there's less distance to carry. There are huge concerns about their health conditions, and they're warning family members in particular about the dangers of refeeding syndrome. In other words, if someone is severely malnourished, you've got to be very, very careful about re-administering food and nutrition, because their bodies have adjusted to having so little. So they are going to require a lot of medical care, a lot of psychological care. But yeah, we are expecting that to happen in the coming hours.
A long road ahead of them for sure. Mick, let's talk about the risks for Hamas by agreeing to release the remaining hostages. Does this show how severely they've been weakened during the 2-year war?
I think it does, Janae. This really is a combination, of course, of political pressure put on Hamas by Qatar and Egypt and Turkey, political pressure, quite frankly, put on Israel by the United States, but also the IDF, so the Israeli Defense Forces, and their essential assault on Gaza City. Really, the last holdout of Hamas was putting so much pressure on them. It was either choose this or potentially that was the end of them. And I think all of that came together, hopefully, to see all these hostages come out and a lot more humanitarian aid go in.
And Mick, the ceasefire deal still has the outstanding issue that include a plan for post-war governance of Gaza, as well as Israel's longstanding demand for Hamas to disarm. Has Hamas essentially put its trust fully in the United States to ensure that Israel doesn't restart the war?
I don't think they had a choice, but yes, the part of this plan is they have the ability to request amnesty. They lay down their weapons, and then they're essentially protected from, Israeli targeting them in the future. They can also, if they want to, leave Gaza. That's a big step for Israel, but it's something that's in this plan and it's going to be agreed to, and it needs to happen. The only way this plan is going to work is if both sides adhere to what they agreed to do. Any of them fall apart, and it could challenge the rest of the plan. And the rest of the plan is very beneficial, I believe, to both Israel and to the people in Gaza. There's big benefits to both.
And Ian, as Israel awaits the return of the hostages, 500,000 Palestinians are trekking back to their homes in Gaza City, largely bombed out, as well as the northern Gaza Strip. What are you watching for next?
Yeah, and if you look at some of those images that are now emerging of the scale of destruction, is shocking. Many people are saying they simply can't find their home, not just that it's been demolished, but even the streets are gone. It's just a pile of rubble. And our local producer inside Gaza has been telling us that some people are returning back to those tent caps in the south because in the north they don't have food, don't have running water, there's no internet signal, no electricity. So there is an enormous task. I mean, you basically got to rebuild a country from scratch. Now, Qatar and the UAE and other countries stand ready to help with that, along with the United States. But we're not there yet. The first and most important thing is to start getting the aid in. We talked about the dangers of refeeding syndrome for the hostages. Well, we've been reporting on the many deaths of severe malnutrition amongst Palestinians. In fact, one little girl who we profiled only a few days ago died this morning. So that aid cannot come in soon enough. The infrastructure for looking after people also has to be put in place, and only then can we start talk about governance and rebuilding the country.
Such a long road ahead. Ian Pannell and Mick Mulroy, our thanks to both of you.